Why did Sincere's mom get on Michelle Obama's internet, who watches reality TV, to tell us that Sincere and Melanie work because she's just as crazy as Melanie is? In order for us to fully understand the light-skin deception that is happening in the villa this season, I'm going to take you on a walk down memory lane to season 5 of Love Island USA, where an Afro-Latino couples up with a spicy Latina that has a lot of girl next door energy on day 1 and continues to play in her face for 6 weeks, making her crash out all up and through the villa, putting herself through all of that torture, trying to hold on to a spark that burned out so quickly because her partner was allergic to the truth. Sound familiar? Cassie and Leo had a tumultuous reign in season 5. So let's bring in that perspective as we break down the rest of season 8, week 2 of Love Island USA. As you can see, the mic is back. I lost the charger. Long story short, I am Charlese Martin, your Liberian American princess, of course, and this is the LAP podcast. Episode 8 starts right where we left off, with Sincere just telling Melanie that he kissed Sol in the speakeasy. Melanie then immediately tells Aniya about it, and she's trying not to cry, and she's holding herself together pretty well. She's like, the stars are so bright. The sky is really blue today. Like, she's really fighting back tears. She's trying not to have another give me 10 moment. And we thank Melanie for her efforts, because hearing somebody that you genuinely care about play in your face actively when you know that you've done something wrong to provoke him is a really messy situation, and her feelings are extremely valid. Like, she's allowed to be hurt by this. What annoys me so much about Sincere is that he starts on this trajectory of lying, and if you start one lie, you have to lie again to hold the last lie you told. So he just ends himself up in a web of lies by the end of these 2 episodes, and to the point where it's so hard to root for him and Sol, because I do see the connection that they have, but the way how he's moving around the villa, I don't want him near Melanie or Sol. Like, I want him out of my villa, because he's just creating such a toxic energy in the group where everybody is constantly involved in their drama. And I just feel like it's probably fun right now for everybody in the villa because it's fun, dramatic tea, but it gets to a point. Everybody's not at that point yet, but it gets to a point. You know what I mean? So while Melanie's having her conversation with Aniya, Sincere's talking to the guys, telling them a whole other story than what he just told med school. Sincere talks about how Sol makes him feel wanted and how he constantly has to chase Melanie, but with Sol, there seems to be like a mutual desire to engage with each other. And I do have to say that Melanie and Sin's connection, I'm gonna just call him Sin for the rest of the season. Melanie and Sin's connection is a bit surface level, a bit physically heavy, and not that emotionally or mentally engaged compared to just what we've seen in this past week alone, his connection with Sol. As toxic as he's moving in the villa, you can see a real depth in conversation with Sincere and Sol compared to what he's got with Melanie. So as far as who I feel like he's a better fit for, it's Sol, obviously, but the way how this man is moving, I don't want him near Sol. I feel like I'm gonna keep on saying this entire episode, like, I see the connection with him and Sol, but I don't like how he's moving, because that's genuinely like my perspective on the matter. Like, I just feel like it's Leonardo all over again if you've seen season 5. Anyway, Kenzie tells Corbin that she kissed the bombshell. And while Kenzie and Corbin are having their conversation, Corbin is taking it fairly well. He is reassuring of their connection and that he's not hurt by it. But in the confessional, he's like, this means Melanie's a go. Like, he's already plotting on Melanie and making a move on Melanie, but he's not voicing that yet to Kenzie. And we're seeing again this whole like light skin deception where these men have every reason to explore in the villa, but you have to be considerate of the people around you and the couples that you're in to explore that. Another, again, Bryce didn't succeed in this, but this would be a great example of like what types of steps to go to move in the villa to be considerate of everyone. So before Bryce pulls Kater for a chat, in the last episode, he pulled both parts that would be hurt or would be involved in the chat and being pulled for a chat. He talked to Zach, and then he talked to Trinity. So Zach and Trinity both know what's going to happen before he even pulls Kata, right? So it's not to any shock of anyone. I just feel like him all of a sudden wanting to pull Kata comes out of nowhere, because Trinity has given him every reason to know that she's all in on him. Trinity not only says that she's into their connection, she says that she wants more out of it. How is a girl saying that she wants more affection from you, her saying that she doesn't like you? I don't feel like that's a reasonable conclusion to come to with everything that she's saying. And it just feels so out of the blue and out of nowhere, because Kata has already had a chance to choose Bryce and didn't. Do we not remember the trio bed and everything that happened when they did have a date? And she's had full opportunity to explore her connection with Bryce and tell him no. So I don't understand why all of a sudden he's trying to circle back out of everyone in the villa on Kata, when there's not only 2 new bombshells, but Kata is attached to your best friend in the villa and is also best friends with Trinity. It just seems like a whole lot of mess for not a whole lot of reason. Another one taking advantage of the 2 bombshells available to him is Gabe. Gabe lets Bea know and pulls her aside to let her know that he kissed both bombshells. Now that we know all the tea, all the girls get together on one couch, not one couch, but like one section of the villa, and commiserate over all the tea going on with the bombshells kissing everybody. So the first one to speak is Bea, and Bea says, Gabrielle just told me that he kissed both bombshells. Immediately following that, med school is like, well, Sincere just kissed Sol. And then right after that, Kenzie's like, well, I kissed a bombshell too. I kissed Caleb. So everybody kissing everybody. Everybody's laughing and giggling and kikiing about it, right? I did enjoy like this moment of just like joy and fun and lightheartedness in the villa. And I'm happy that like med school is able to like keep a cool head on her shoulders and be able to laugh about it a little bit, because everybody is allowed to explore in here. And even though Sincere is playing in her face, she's able to commiserate with the girls and have that moment to not feel alone and secluded in her sadness. I feel like in a way, like being able to laugh about it is the best thing you can do in a situation like that. And the best line to come out of this is Bea when she says, I compete for medals, not men. I love her. I love Bea. Don't get me started. So the girls start getting ready for bed, and Mel has to turn to God for strength, and I don't blame her. Mel's like, you know what? With all this mess going on, I need to just go to the bush and weep.
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really.
I don't blame her, because it's really a mess. And I do have to say that before the season started, everybody has seen their Instagram profiles, and most of these people have like Bible quotes in there. Like, this is like, I thought before the first episode and how overly freaked out the first episode was, I thought that this was going to be like a very heavy Christian season, because everybody seems to be loving Jesus in the villa, you know what I mean? So this was like our first person blatantly showing that they're a Christian on screen. But the unholiness that went to go and follow when the lights turned off is actually insane to me. Let me hold my brace, because it wasn't this episode, but it was the next episode. We'll get there, hold on. So it's the next morning, and this is when I start really disliking Zach. Zach starts getting in Bryce's head about Trinity, and he's like, I don't know if she really likes you. I don't think she gets your jokes. I like it better when it's us 3, you know, King Kata, me, and Bryce, and I don't like it when Trinity is included. Now, it took me a whole 2 days to digest this next conversation happening with Sincere and Melanie. The conversation that Melanie and Sincere have right at the beginning of the episode, right after he kisses Sol, as in the morning of. Please, someone explain to me what just happened. I don't understand that conversation. I don't. So Melanie tells him straight up that her feelings are being hurt by his actions, and that if he wants to continue to explore Sol, go and do that, but she needs to be left out of it. And if he continues to move the way that he's been moving, she's done. Now, her giving him this ultimatum, I get it, but Sincere's reaction to that ultimatum is so frustrating because he just decides to lie in her face blatantly. And as that conversation was happening, I'm like, why is he lying? She's like, okay, do you want to continue to explore with Sol? I'm thinking in my head, yes. without hesitation just says, no. Why are you lying? Why is he lying so much, so blatantly, when it's just like us as the audience can see through the story that he's trying to give Melanie? It was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen, because you just see Melanie get manipulated in real time throughout this conversation. Melanie lets it be known, hey, you're hurting my feelings. If you want to do this with Sol, I can continue on. He says, I bet I'm gonna lie to you then and say that I'm not gonna do that with Sol. To then just in the next scene, pull Sol for a chat in front of everyone. It takes Sol up to Soul Ties.
Soul Ties is crazy.
Soul Ties is crazy.
Soul Ties is crazy.
Soul Ties is still crazy. I did want to pause for a second, because before we see that, we do see Aniya and Casey have a cute little chat. The unambiguously black people are still here. And Aniya finally gives Casey a compliment that we see. And it's a good one. And I think that's why he was looking so good that same night with the black shirt and the black pick. Oof. Oof. Get this man an Azara ad. He looks so good. Anyway, so while Sin and Sol are in Soul Ties, Kenzie pulls Caleb for a chat where they say nothing. It was like so uneventful. He says, I like to give a girl flowers when I care about her. And that was it. Like, that's all we got from that conversation. They just looked at each other with their blue eyes and blonde hair. So Mel then pulls Corbin for a chat where, again, it's very uneventful. We find out nothing about each other. They just say we have a vibe for 5 minutes. And then ChatGPT asks to kiss Med School, and Med School says no. Because literally this man has one move. It's, can I get a kiss? Can I get a kiss? Can I get a kiss? It's a lot of like, give me a hug energy. I'm just tired of it. Like, can ChatGPT go somewhere? All he does is just like stare deadpan at you and ask for a kiss, and that's it. And while Sin and Sol are still in Soul Ties, Bea and Corbin have a chat where nothing happens and there isn't any type of energy. All it is just them talking about putting their kids in sports, and Bea being like, you need to put your kid in golf because it's not just good for a sport, it's good for business relations. And I like her. She's a smart cookie. I like Bea in this. I don't like Corbin in this because all he does is just repeat what Bea says. And it's like the most unearthing thing I've ever witnessed. It's like hella uncomfortable to watch. Yeah. So Aniya and Mel then have a chat where Aniya is straight up enabling Melanie, because Melanie is like starting to freak out about Sol and Sin still being up there with Soul Ties. And I would be annoyed too, because it's looking like it's been like almost the whole day, because Melanie started a conversation with Corbin, ended a conversation with Corbin while they're still in Soul Ties. And she's grabbing Aniya while this is going on. And you're starting to see Sin be super emotive, talking with his hands, his whole body to Sol. And Melanie seeing this, and I would feel a way about Sin acting like that, honestly. And Mel's like, yeah, I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna go up there. And Aniya starts enabling her, and she's like, yeah, go. And so does Trinity. Trinity's like, yeah, she should. The only one to stop her is Casey. And Casey's like, nah, I can't let you go out like that. And Mel's like, let me pull him. He's like, nah, I can't let you do that. I can't let you do that, bro. He tells Aniya, hey, help your friend. Go take her. Because Aniya was going to let her go. And Aniya's like, no, actually, you should chill. So then Bea comes over to join them. And Bea's consoling Melanie because Melanie starts crying. And Bea's like bigging her up. She's like, you know, don't let him do that to you. You know him. Mel's like, I don't know him. And honestly, you don't. It's been a week. So she runs off to cry. I'm guessing towards the confessional. I'm not sure. I don't like know the layout of the villa that well, but it looks like that's where she ran off to. Regardless, she ran away from Soul Ties and not towards it. And Bea's like, I guess I don't know how to console people. Bea did a good job. Like, she shouldn't really be blaming herself on that. But a little note about Bea saying that, like, I don't know what point this happened in the show, but Bea says that, like, I am not really good at making friends with girls, but I'm finding those friendships in the villa. And you see her trying, and you see her being supportive but not enabling with her friendships and being real with these girls. And man, Bea. So before we get to the night portion, Kata tells Kenzie that Corbin tried to kiss Med School, but I don't know who told Kata. So if you know who told Kata, or if you saw somebody tell Kata, please let me know in the comment section, because I was so confused by that. Anyways, now it's nighttime. Bryce, while they're getting dressed, starts asking Casey if he's really into Aniya, and Casey confirms that, like, no, like, I'm really feeling her, so that's nice to hear. And then once everybody gets ready and goes downstairs, Kenzie is the first to pull, and she pulls Melanie for a chat. This gets toxic as hell. Kenzie is just really irritating at this conversation because throughout the entire day, she was actively complaining about having a roster and not knowing how to act with a roster. And then you have med school basically taking one off your hands and being like, I see everything going on with Sin and Soul. I got to do something to like make sure I keep my spot here in the villa. So, he's my type, I'm his type. So we're going to see if we have a connection. I didn't kiss him. We're just having conversations. Kenzie says, I just feel like you're not trying hard enough with Sin. We want her to stop trying with Sin. She needs to stop trying with Sin. Like, if a man continues to play in your face, are you going to continue to forgive and not move on with all the rest of the guys in the villa? And it's only it's only been a week. Like, Casa More hasn't happened yet. It's only been a week. This is week 2 in the villa. And med school needs to stop trying with other people. She needs to be all in on Sin when Sin's moving how he's moving with Soul. And this is a bigger conversation. I have a couple of things I need to say right now. The way how people move when it comes to physical boundaries and emotional connections is extremely interesting here, because I don't think it takes rocket science to understand that having an emotional connection matters more than kissing a lot of times. And I feel like because people are so tied to physical restraints, they're associating physical connection with emotional when that doesn't always mean the same thing. Look at Gabe. Gabe really had very inconsequential conversations with both of the bombshells and ended up kissing them. It didn't mean anything to Gabe. It really doesn't mean anything to Gabe. What matters to Gabe, which we're going to talk about in the next episode, is how emotionally you are attached to somebody. And I do feel that emotional attachment developing with Sin and Soul, and that should be a problem for Melanie. That should be a problem for Melanie. It shouldn't be a problem for Kenzie that Corbin is talking to other people because she just actually kissed Caleb. So, and all that med school and ChatGPT did was have a conversation. So I don't see what the problem is. This is the episode where Bryce pulls everybody aside before he talks to Kata. So let's get into episode 9 where he actually pulls Kata, makes a fool out of himself. Kata tells him no again. And then it's like he went through all of that trauma, all of that mess to just mess up his connection with everybody else in the villa for what? This episode is also where, at least in the beginning of it, Sin starts to lie to Melanie again. And this time it's even worse because now he's like, I'm not going to kiss Soul again. I'm not going to do any of that because the kisses mean nothing to me. The kisses are just me seeing if there's an actual connection there. You already tested that connection in the first challenge when y'all was all up in the ditty bed. So why do you need to see how she kisses again? You already know. Sin is just moving so foul. It's extremely frustrating because, like I said in the beginning, Sincere gets himself caught up in an entire web of lies. And because he said one lie, now he has to continue to lie. And now here we go, carrying Melanie out of Soul Ties, talking about I got my man back. I got my man back.
This is fucking wrong. I'm fucking mad, bro.
Girl, don't let Sin embarrass you like this. I feel so bad for Melanie because, again, Melanie doesn't know everything that we know. We've seen the conversations that he's had with Soul. We've seen him straight up lie to her and not tell her about kissing in Say Less. We've seen him lie and say he's not that into Soul, that he's not interested in Soul, that he only wants to focus on Melanie and Melanie is his main priority. We've seen him blatantly lie in her face. She is only getting one part of the story. Same thing with Soul. Soul is being told only one part of the story. And I really do wish that Mel and Soul actually did talk to each other. Anyway, Corbin starts talking to Aniya, and it's just this conversation made me a bit uncomfy because you have ChatGPT talking about I'm really good at communicating. And because Aniya is everybody's yes man in the villa, she decides to agree with this man who doesn't know how to hold a conversation and whose main thing is to repeat after the person talking in front of him. Because I'm not going to lie, ChatGPT, again, continues to repeat whatever Aniya says in the conversation. It's so weird. It's so weird. So it's the next morning after everybody decided to get freaky deaky. We had Kata underneath somebody's pants. We had ChatGPT and Kenzie making out. We had Sin doing very sinister things to Melanie under the covers. It's so early. The hideaway isn't even open yet, and everybody's just out there doing each other for everybody else to see. I think also like Gabe and Bia was doing stuff. It was just a lot. A lot. This is week 2 in the villa. The hideaway isn't even open yet. People are already doing stuff underneath the covers that we can see. And don't think we forgot, Kenzie, about Corbin doing whatever he was doing to you the other night with your finger in your mouth. This is so like overly freaked out. That's how come they don't even need to do it in the challenges anymore. That's why the challenges chilled out after the Diddy challenge, because they don't even need anybody convincing them to be freaked out. They'll do it on their own. Anyway, Kenzie pretends to be friends with Sol for 5 minutes, and it's her just being like, oh, I'm here for you, you know, if you need someone, you know, I'm here. And people are saying that Kenzie was doing this just because med school is now trying to get with her man. I really do feel like, yes, and this is a producer appointed friendship, because Sol obviously is going to stay in the villa for a long time, and she can't be on an island by herself and Jen the entire time. Like, Bombshell shouldn't be having this hard of a time making friends on the show this early on into the game. Like, Casa Amor hasn't even happened yet. We're used to OG girls treating the Casa girls like this. Not the week 2 Bombshells are having a hard time making friends and nobody's trying to talk to Sol while she's getting ready. It's uncomfy to even just watch. So we see Trinity and Bryce have a conversation. This is the morning after Bryce tried to pull Kata. And although Trinity let him know before he even went for it that she wasn't fucking with it, right?
I'm not fucking with it.
They kiss and make up, but she's like a bit more wary of Bryce now because Bryce is really trying her. And I do feel for her, because it's like, how much more clear can you be to say, I like you, I'm into you, this hurts me, you trying to seek stuff from other people. And then Bryce starts to have the preferences conversation where he's just like, okay, what if somebody that is your type comes into the villa? Are you going to go for them? Trinity says no. And I love that Trinity kind of said everything as blatant as possible. Trinity straight up said, like, how do you think I'm going to feel if you just go for the next girl that looks like Kata and comes in, the next model brunette that comes into the villa? How is that going to make me feel? Because she's like, you can't use the objectivity of us not being each other's usual preferences in this situation, because now there is a developed emotional connection. And although looks do matter, attraction and emotional connection matters too. And the way how they have developed, she feels like should hold more weight than just looks. And I agree with her on that. And they've kind of been coasting around the race conversation. I don't know if that's because of production. I don't know if that's because they don't want to, or they're not allowed to speak about race blatantly on here when it comes to like interracial dating. But they both make it known that they're probably like each other's first interracial dating experience. But in all honesty, the way how Bryce is moving now, literally last video, I was like, my gosh, I'm actually starting to like Trinity together. If Bryce can't handle being with a black woman like he's showing right now, Trinity needs to get away. So I'm very iffy on them still being together, because I'm not going to erase the good communication and the friendship that they have developed. I don't know if the romantic connection is as strong, because I think that I was mistaking their friendship for romantic connection. And I think Trinity is dealing with that, where she's just like, I genuinely like this guy. I'm romantically interested in this guy, but I don't know if he feels the same way for me. And I just want somebody to come in for the unambiguously black girls. I really do. Like, Trinity and Aniya should have options like everybody else does in the villa.
No shade, Love Island. We better walk into Casa and that shit look like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, bitch. Dead homies, bitch. I'm talking about 6'4", 6'7", dark chocolates, muscle tattoos, and beards, nigga. What is you talking about? Like, bitch, I better walk in that shit. I better feel like a baby in a fucking candy store, nigga. All that chocolate around, nigga, because this shit is ridiculous.
So then Kenzie and Corbin have a chat, and ChatGPT starts expressing his feelings, because she's like, let's talk about your hard shell. Let's break down your hard shell. And he's like, what do you mean my hard shell? And he starts having sentences that don't involve, can I have a kiss? And it's a full conversation. This is nice. I can't say that I fully care about the conversations that Kenzie has with guys. I like her friendships more. I'm just not buying any of like the romantic conversations that she's having for real, outside of that one time where she was speaking to Caleb when he first came in. And this speaks to a larger problem that I see with Kenzie. I feel like she doesn't see the men of color in the villa as true viable options of romantic interest. And she only dives in romantically with white men. And we saw her do this with Zach. We saw her first be interested in Bryce until like there wasn't any sexual chemistry. And then now we're seeing her do the same thing when it comes to Caleb and Corbin, where she has a very blatant physical, heavily sexual connection with Corbin, but there's not a whole lot of emotional depth to it. And we see her starting to develop that emotional depth with Caleb. And it's more of a romantic connection, a intellectual connection. Like they start talking about values and wants for their life in the future. And when she's talking to Corbin, it's like, let's try 69. Like they're just not having the same in-depth conversations. So after that, Corbin gets a text, and why does he sound like DMX? Like it's actually so funny to me. If I have the clip, I'll play. He's just like, I got a text. I got a text. It's so like DMX coded.
What's good then? I got it.
Like Corbin saying I got a text in that like ridiculously deep voice is so humorous to me. And people online are saying that it's fake. And I was like, maybe it's not, until he slipped with the, what do you mean? I was like, is that a tenor? Is that a tenor I'm hearing? What's going on? ChatGPT is glitching this whole episode. So this next challenge is called the Sweetest Pie Challenge. It's a challenge hosted by our new After Sun hosts, which is Sierra from Summer House and Teffy, who is a podcaster. I'm actually working on a deep dive on Summer House, but I keep on having to put that on the back burner because more things are coming out. Like I thought that the reunion just ended, but then when I saw clips from the reunion, it came out that like now there's a new episode. So I'm like back on the chopping board because now I gotta put into perspective the whole part 4 reunion, which Bravo, if you know Bravo has never had a part 4 reunion before. I'm going on a side tangent. Subscribe so that you know when the deep dive comes out. Anyways, back to the challenge. This is called the Sweetest Pie Challenge. I love the like kiss or pie challenges that Love Island does. It's a fave for me. They do it season after season. It's kind of like their signature. People are saying that like, I like that this challenge isn't overly freaked out. I agree, but it's also not our first time seeing this challenge. And I do want to say that like, this is a Love Island staple. I'm shocked that they're actually doing it so early in the game. However, everybody has like problems and mess with everybody. So maybe it did come at a perfect time. Anyway, we start off with a nice one, and it's just about like who's most likely to remember your coffee order, and Aniya gets a kiss. I love Sierra's commentary during this. She goes like, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. It was so funny. I love Sierra for that. So we got to have our little black love moment because the producers love to give us crumbs of Aniya and Casey's conversations. They give us less and less of Aniya and Casey every episode, like together as a pair. I swear, because I think that Aniya and Casey are probably like not good TV and they're just boring as a couple, and I think that might just be a good thing, but I think that's why we're not seeing that and the producers aren't highlighting that because there really isn't anything to show. Yeah, anyways, Kenzie kisses Caleb, and then we move on to our first pie, which is most likely to ghost you. And ChatGPT does it to Sol and Sol does it to ChatGPT, and they're both like, yeah, I agree, which I think is funny. Then the most likely to sleep with your best friend's partner goes to Corbin and Kenzie. I feel like this should have gone to Bryce because Bryce literally tried to pull Kata yesterday. So I don't know why we're pulling anyone else. This is a bit out of order and I'm not fixing it, but you'll get the point. Most likely to defend you in a room that you're not in, Zach and Bia. Shouldn't be Zach, should be Bia. I think that this should have gone to Casey again. Most likely to help a stranger goes to Sincere. Most likely to help a stranger? No. Should have been Casey again. What are we doing? Most likely to sleep with their best friend's partner, Corbin and Kenzie. Now, I see it for Kenzie. I see it for Corbin. But an honorable mention is Bryce because he literally tried to do that yesterday. And also in the last challenge when they were getting dipped in the pool, wasn't he the one that got caught dating a friend just to get the girl's friend's number? And then he ended up in a 2-year relationship with that girl. So not only Is he most likely to do it? He has done it. Most likely to string several people along at once. Sincere and Kenzie, I agree with this. I loved Jen's line where it's just like, I know you're sincere, but you're not. I loved that. I loved it so much. She ate that one thing up. Most likely to tell you spinach in your teeth or a booger in your nose. That goes to Caleb and Bea. I agree with this. I think that Bea's speech was the most in-depth, but I think it's funny how later she gets pulled by Gabe because she went in on Caleb a little too hard for his liking. I think that's really funny. The last one that we see as an audience is the person most likely to break girl code or guy code. That goes to Sol and Gabrielle. I don't think that was a fear one. I feel like this should have gone to either Melanie or Kenzie. And Sol starts to break down because she feels like she's been pied enough. And the thing is that like Zach goes to give her this pie and he still goes full throttle for it. Even though her hands are over her face, like you can tell that like she's over being pied and she doesn't want to be pied, but he still goes for it like fully. And her feelings are like hurt, and you can see that like she's even about to cry before it's all over. And she's still like kind of moping around. Casey goes over to her. He's just like, I know you're upset right now. When you're a bit settled, I'm gonna pull you so that you can chat and you feel supported, right? Kenzie doesn't talk to her. We don't see, but we do see med school feeling all happy-go-lucky in her couple now that all the boys decided to bully Sol for probably like 3 hours straight. Oh my gosh, maybe I should go and talk to Sol. I feel bad for her. Maybe I should go and talk to her. Sin is like, no, don't do that. And I feel like Sin doesn't want those two girls talking to each other because then they're going to actually find out the type of mess that he's been doing this entire week with both of them. And I do wish that Mel just went and talked to Sol so that they could get straightened out and figure out what the real story is, because it's so frustrating that Sin is getting away with this because Mel and Sol have yet to talk to each other. If you're watching Love Island UK, you see this not working out because the girls that guys are talking to all talk to each other. So it's like, even if he wants to say one thing to one girl, one thing to another girl, they can't get away with it because the girls are going to chat at some point and everybody's friends. But because Melanie has made it awkward for everybody to be friends with Sol and Sol is isolated, Sincere is able to mess with both of them. It's actually really frustrating because I really don't want Sin to win in this situation at all. Like, he's playing with Sol, he's playing with Melanie. I want him out of my villa immediately, ejected immediately. And Bea says in the confessional that she feels like some of the answers to the question shouldn't have been towards Sol, but should have been towards Melanie. And this makes me wonder if it wasn't just 2 times like we saw. I feel like there were more than just the questions that we saw being answered. And the audience got like the Cliff Note version of what the challenge was and actually happened. Like, because I don't think Sol is the type to get upset over just like 2 times trying to be pied. I think that the guys were pieing her a lot and were bullying her a lot, because when she does start to change for nighttime with the girls, she's still upset, she's still crying, and she's talking to all of them, and all of them agree that they shouldn't have been doing that to her. And I do think that Sin was having the boys do his dirty work and having Sol be bullying and kissing Melanie in the challenge to prove his loyalty to Melanie, but it's not gonna work out like that. So Sol and Sincere go either to Say Less or I think it was the speakeasy, and they start having a real in-depth conversation about how she feels. She starts pouring her heart out to this man, and he gives her great feedback. He actually cheers her up. He tells her like, hey, like, what are the things that make you happy? Have you been writing songs lately? Have you been doing your breath work? Like, and he knows all of these things about Sol. I don't know if he knows that much about Melanie that we've seen as much as he knows about Sol in just a couple of days that they've been talking, right? So while that's happening, we get our first Black girl OG trio talk. And it's Melanie and Trinity and Aniya all having a conversation. Here go Melanie talking about he might kiss Sol again and I'm going to have to forgive him again. You shouldn't. Let him go. Bea and Gabe have a chat. This is when Gabrielle basically breaks down to her how he feels about Bea saying all of those nice things about Caleb. And I think that what really got to him was that she thought that he was saying those things about him, and then she turned and kissed Caleb. If he didn't think that it was about him, I don't think his feelings would have been hurt. I think he was just embarrassed being in public and being like, oh, it's me, and then she went and kissed someone else. I really think that was it. Anyways, she basically says, I thought that the only updates that we needed to give each other is if we were more interested in someone else than each other, or if we kissed someone else. And they seem to still have great communication. He lets her know that, like, my feelings are hurt, but she in the confessional being like, I don't know what he's so mad at. They start macking out hard in front of everybody, including Jen. So they've obviously devoured each other's faces and made up, not just kiss and made up. Then Ariana comes into the villa and we get to see America's votes. Now, we already talked about last episode how the voting app crashed and we had to wait a whole episode and get that whole filler episode / messiest villa ever episode before we can get this one where we get to see our votes in action. And I'm not gonna lie, because episode 8 happened, everybody regrets their votes now. Like, shoot, I would have put Bea with Caleb. I would have still put Sol with Sincere. And I still would have put Kenzie. No, I don't know what I would have done, but it would have been different because I didn't want Bea to go home. Anyways, apparently before the episode even came out, a Love Island intern spilled the beans about Bea being dumped from the island. So I didn't see that before I saw the episode, but a lot of people did. So I was genuinely boo-hooing in the corner about Bea leaving because I didn't know that was gonna happen. I was on the edge of my seat because they were dragging out every answer, but I ended up being right. Like, my vote was pretty accurate to what happened in the villa. Literally, I said that I'm voting Jen for Gabe. That's what happened. I said I'm voting Sol for Sincere. That's what happened. I said I'm voting Kenzie for Caleb. That's what happened. And you just see the tears streaming down Med School's face the entire time. It's heartbreaking. It's dramatic. It's just good cinema. But Melanie and ChatGPT have to stay in the villa so that we continue to have our LBA supremacy villa, and all the light brights get to stay in, and Bea goes home. Now, Mel does say right after she gets ripped away from Sin that this is the end of her and Sin. Time will tell if that's actually going to be what's happening, because I'm not going to lie, I don't think she's into ChatGPT enough to be over Sin for ChatGPT. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. I really did love the exit that they gave Bea. You see Kata crying, boo-hooing in the corner, breaking down. Everybody's crying. ChatGPT's holding back tears. Ariana's holding back tears. Gabrielle and Bea go into the terrace and have a whole conversation in Spanish. I felt like I just got dipped into a telenovela. I loved seeing that side of Gabe being all sentimental and romantic, bawling his eyes out, kissing her. It felt very genuine, and like it didn't feel freaked out to me. And I do feel like the villa is not going to be the same for him anymore now that he is stuck in this language barrier with not somebody else that gets it and not somebody else that's knowledgeable about his culture in the same way. I do hope that him and Med School can develop more of a friendship so that, like, Gabe doesn't feel so isolated in the villa, because I don't think he's going to get that same continuity with Jen. I do feel bad for Gabe. And now our new couples are Jen and Gabe, Med School and ChatGPT, So Sincere, King Kata and One Direction, Trinity and Bryce, Aniya and KC. And we will be tuning in on Sunday, but I'm also going to watch After Sun because I do have a good feeling about Sierra giving us good TV. But I will be back here on Wednesday to catch up with you all on week 3 of Love Island. Be sure to give me a hype, give me a like, and drop this emoji if you stay to the end. See you later, Royal Village. Bye-bye.